Hey, it's Empress Rose. Welcome to our reading, our collective reading for whenever you find this. Okay, that's too many. We're starting off with botanical inspirations. Going to get a little bouquet here of a couple flowers. Or just one. Okay, yeah, that's a bouquet. Well, first and foremost, phlox. Unanimity and harmony. He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe, Marcus Aurelius. So, phlox, unanimity and harmony. I like that I like this idea of harmony with yourself because we're talking about a vibration, we're talking about vibing with yourself, we're talking about being truthful to your own vibe, being real with yourself and bringing your real self into the universe. And the more important part here is being in harmony with yourself rather than with everybody else. So, all right. And then we have lily, majesty and virtue. The lily is the emblem, rare, of many virtues, good and rare. All right. The lily. Oh, we have a lot of lilies in some of these decks too. It's a really spiritual flower. Obviously, spring Easter flower. So we could be talking a little bit about events around Easter, or the lead up into that. Lily is a very intense smell, very intense flower. My dad used to go and take the stamens out of lilies so that he could have them, be around them around Easter time. So, Gerbera daisy, purity, cheerfulness, and innocence. The present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see that. Thich Nhat Hanh. Purity, cheerfulness, and innocence. The present moment is filled with joy and happiness. I'm paying attention, finding that there. The daisy. And we have nasturtium, a very delicious, spicy flower. It is wonderful. Victory and conquest. He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still. Again, we have this relationship with self being very important here. And virtue and innocence, I'm going to say, with these two, white flowers, the virtue and the innocence. Daisy's a very playful, innocent one. But nasturtium and phlox, all about the relationship with self. All right, well, that's going to get us started, give us some themes. Here, we're going to go to the Crow Oracle. Oh my gosh, how fun. Okay. What we have, well, this is just beautiful. And then we started off with these beautiful flowers, with this bouquet, with this innocence, this cheerfulness, and here we're getting play. And they're playing in the rain. They have, as birds, they have like the oil in their feathers. It's water off a duck's back, water off of a crow's back, just anything. That water, it's a protective surface and it can't really get into the, downy underlayer that actually keeps them warm. So they're safe to play in the rain. And we have some party lights here. So it's like, you don't even have to think about, well, it's not safety focus, it's play focus. The safety is like already taken care of. And now it's time to play. And I like this because we have this like cheerfulness, this joy, this happiness, this innocence coming in here. And there has something to do here with your true self. And play is always very open-ended to me too. It's an exploration. It's not a destination. We're exploring, we're playing. We're not trying to get to a destination. This isn't homework. We don't have to get it done by a certain time and turned in and at a certain level of greatness. It's more like reading for pleasure. I'm thinking hobbies as I think this, and like just doing things that don't have goals, a goalless play, just reading, not like tangible goals, right? The goal of reading is to enjoy yourself, and that's a lot of this here. So then we have gifts, another delightful little card, little baubles and gifts. I love gifts. They remind, you're thinking of someone else. You're reminded of someone else. And so they're very fun. The idea that someone thought of you. That someone was doodling around in their day and doing things, and then they think of you. So gifts, someone's giving some gifts and receiving some gifts, and I love it mixed with this play because it's like non-obligation gifts. It's not Christmas. It's not birthdays where you're supposed to come with a gift. It's like this playfulness, a playful gift, and giving without any of those, obligations, non-obligatory giving. That's what it feels like to me, those two together. And then we have observation. And for some reason, this reminds me of this victory and conquest, conquering yourself and the harmony with self. There's a lot of really beautiful energy here. So observation. Again, this is, they're watching how someone else does something very different from them, something very foreign, right? But in a way not, because the crow and the spider both in a way build nests. Like the spider's web is a lot like a nest. They both take a lot of care and organization. What to the outsider may seem like chaos, to the person whose nest and home this is organization. And this, the spiders though is a job, is like, this is how they obtain food and survive in that way. The crows is more like survival through rest. So anyway, there just seems to be like watching an opportunity, or maybe like this could be like shadowing someone who does a job that you want to do, or watching how someone else does something and getting some ideas to bring back to where you want to be. This could also be observing, watching a play, maybe even, but watching something. And it's giving you, even though it may be open-ended play, it's like, even though it may be open-ended play, and like watching just to watch the movie, just to watch the play, just to do something kind of fun and interesting, there's a lot to be gained from it, but don't go with that purpose. Don't be like, well, this play should be very instructive for me and I will learn a lot and I will take it back to my hive. Like maybe there's a couple things, that you're doing this week that need to be done in an open-ended manner, with no purpose in mind, with no goal in mind, with no return on an investment in mind, but just to do it, and there will be rewards, right? The spider, to me, the spider web is about like enjoying what you're doing, and the spider too is also a storyteller. So there's something maybe even about a play coming through here for me anyway. There's something to enjoy, but it's going to be very nourishing for you. It's going to bring you something. Cool. All right. Well, and then moving on to the tarot. Oh, righty. Okie doke. 2 of Cups. This could be about a relationship, basically, is the underlying from the bottom of the deck here. A relationship, 2 of Cups, a conversation perhaps, a meeting of the minds. Opposite worlds coming together, a moment. This one in particular from this deck, the Muse Tarot, looks to me like a moment. This isn't a sustainable place to be in, but this could be a conversation, a moment. Past, present, inner landscape, what's at issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. All right, in the recent past, we've had a leveling up. Maybe a promotion, maybe a commitment in a relationship, or a new level hit in a relationship. There's been a leveling up. There might have been even an announcement about it. It's the 1111 card. It's the next level. So a new level. Feeling connected to your path. There could be, again, a gathering, like with this Two of Emotions and this Four of Inspiration, almost looks like a gathering of people, almost a party of peers. Everyone here is kind of at the same level or working in the same space. It might have just felt like a step. It might not have felt like a big leveling up, like you might not have felt that you were on an elevator. It might have felt a little bit more like stepping onto one step onto an escalator, and maybe there was like, you know, a next step. It may have just felt like a step. It might not have felt like a full level, but it is a different level. And I feel like it's more like vibing with people, working with people at this new level. Maybe it was a meeting you attended with a different group of peers than you're used to working with or being with. This can also be an engagement, or, you know, just a relationship is deepening. A commitment is made. A commitment is made. That often feels like what it is. Like the commitment is made here, right? Because it's the engagement card, and we're not just like, oh, we're just continuing dating. You know, it's like, well, I'm committed to making plans for the future. I'm committing to planning this next step. This has worked out so far. Let's go to the next step. An internship ends up in a job offer. Dating ends up with a deeper relationship, deeper commitment. So I do feel like there is some sort of commitment here. And not a promise even yet, right? We're not to the point where we're promising. We're just in a statement of intention. Intentions being set here. And there's something about peers and possibly meeting. All right, and then in this one, we have 6 of materials, so reciprocation. Again, we have this working together. We have sort of working together on the material realm coming out in this 6 of Pentacles. It has a little bit of a more unique reading than usual, but again, it's these two working together in a very material realm. There's also like emotional bonds here, but this is reciprocation, and maybe like a commitment to do something. And this is the current situation is there's reciprocal energy, there's give and take, there's flow. Right? So sometimes the resources flow all towards one person and then all towards another person, and it's maybe not drip by drip, but overall we're passing it's like a good volley. I feel like a conversation maybe with a good volley to it, a conversation, not just a conversation though, like there can be resources involved. There's fairness involved, there's reciprocation involved. One person isn't just the taker and the other the giver. There's a good volley going back and forth. And it's play, right? I'm thinking of volleyball. I'm thinking of playing a game. I both love and loathe volleyball personally, but it's really interesting. Yeah, it's volleyball, like, but it's not competitive volleyball. It's like what I'm seeing here is more you and some friends doing a little beach volleyball, but no one's trying to win. You're actually trying to keep the volley going. You're trying to, I wish there was like an official game like that, where the name of the game isn't to beat other people. The name of the game is to, as a team, keep the ball from touching the ground for as long as possible. Like a fun thing rather than like a beating competitive thing. You can tell I'm not very into, I don't find competition all that fun. But just like trying to keep it going, keep the volley going, back and forth. There's a nice back and forth here. And no one wants to drop the ball. No one wants to be the one that drops the ball at this point. I like that. I really like that energy. No one wants to drop the ball. That's what's going on here. No one wants to be the giver and no one wants to be the receiver. Both parties or both entities want to be doing a little bit of both. So you're putting a lot of effort into something. It's being met with an equal force. And that's not common, right? That's not all the time. Sometimes we're pouring ourselves into something for a variety of really valid reasons, and we don't get very much out of it. But, you know, Hopefully someone pours into us a little bit. So hopefully it does like even out. So that's a little bit of this, but I feel like it's really between these two people here, is that there's givers and receivers, and both people want to do both aspects of the situation. And then your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape. This is really interesting, and it kind of feels like a juxtaposition to 6 of materials and 2 of emotions right here, where there's a lot of even. This is, Empress is like motherhood. It's also a sense of independence and being very independently, I want to say even independently wealthy. And the desire to like have your own life, to be your own source of inspiration. It's a little bit of a solo vibe to me. I don't get strong co-creator from this. You may not be looking to be a co-creator. You may not be looking for back and forth. Or maybe you want to be enough. That's what it could be. Is you're with this back and forth, there may be like a worry that you're not enough, or that you're going to have to do something all by yourself. Like there's like partnership vibes all over these first 3 cards. But this Empress, this is either a concern like, okay, great, another group project I've been assigned to, and I will again do all of the work, and we will again assign 6 names to this project, even though 2 people didn't even show up for the meeting. Like, so it could be a little bit of that. That's what's on your mind, is sort of some soloness, some solo success, some solo work. Or maybe, yeah, it's like hope in your hopes and fears. Like maybe you're hoping that you're enough, but there's also a sense of maybe even feeling like you have to do this by yourself, or you have to be alone in something, or there's a need to be successful without assistance, to be the source, and to be the, rather than receiving. Like this is almost, the Empress is almost like feeling to me right now like a needing to give, rather than wanting to be part of a give and take, wanting to be the source of the giving rather than the even back and forth. This can also be like worries that you're not enough, worries that you're not abundant enough, hopeful, and then that would be hopes too, that you are abundant enough, that you can create your own world and your own universe. And I feel like for some reason it's juxtaposed with this even back and forth and this like leveling up in this relationship of you either both needing or fearing that you have to do something, or wanting to do something on your own. I would inspect that, like, because it's coming in like both like abundance, but like in a way needing that abundance to be all from within, and feeling like, and there is a sense where we do own our own vibe, we own our own relationships to money, we own our own relationships to nurturing, we own, you have this relationship with yourself, self-nurturing, and there's a sense though that it's in juxtaposition with like sort of this group partnership stuff going on around you. Like you need to be bringing your best self to it, of course, and your wholeness and your whole complete self. But I don't know why it's sort of like, it's like this may be new territory. You may be used to being self-sufficient, and there's something here that could be new territory. Would be difficult to trust the other person's going to volley back. Difficult to trust. Maybe you've just been playing wall ball with yourself for a long time, and you're like, okay, now I have to play with someone else. Am I good enough to play with someone else? Or is it, do I even want to play with someone else? Is it okay to play with someone else? Can we play volleyball instead of just me wall ball? Is wall ball proper, or is volleyball better? There's, I think, confusion on what's required of you right now. And if you even want to be playing, no, I think you're having a lot of joy with the volley, but there's also a sense of either feeling obligated or needing to be self-sufficient as well. All right, whew, we got it, we got there. Two of materials, again, this juggling, but we're not juggling. Two of materials is not being able to handle everything on your plate. Well, that's why the six materials could be really good. But not having, something's non-negotiable. Something's not being negotiated. Something could be a little trickier. Like you want to be able to handle everything yourself, but you're not able to right now. There's something where there's no negotiation, or you're not able to handle it yourself. You really want to. And this is why the six of materials should be really good for this two of materials reversed. Because here you're trying to juggle it yourself. You are playing wall ball here and you're not being very successful. Here someone else comes in and wants to share the juggle with you, wants to share wants to help you or share the burden with you, or reciprocate. You're in some space of fairness, but there's also something that's like too much to deal with or too much going on. And the six of materials here has this like join forces vibe to it, or someone here to help you, and it's going to be very fair. It's going to be fair, but you may either be way too busy right now, or not able to fully handle or manage something, or negotiations have broken down, which is really strange because you have this like six of materials, which looks like a really great, volley, a really great group experience, or two people. But this two of materials is no negotiating, not able to handle the full amount. Something feels overwhelming. And it could be like something having to do with money. It could be something having to do with work, time, energy. It's like there's just too much. And there could be like a shutting down, or there could also be, there's no negotiation. Which is interesting because the six of materials feels like negotiation, but there's no negotiating some kind of issue here. Something is non-negotiable. In your environment, Eight of Pentacles, someone's working really hard. Someone is very busy. Or there could just be a lot of work a lot to do. There could be quite a bit to do, and you're maybe not quite able to manage all of it. Even though there's like some really great aspects going on here, there could be a lot of work, a lot to do, and you're not quite able to keep up or able to really balance it out. It's like disequilibrium, a lack of balance. You're not able to juggle everything well right now. There's like too much going on. Basically, with this Eight of Materials, there's like a lot of work and you're not able to keep all your balls in the air. You're dropping some balls here. And that may be fine. Like maybe it's just like you're not going to be able to do everything that you want to do right now. And you may need to pare things down to what is more crucial and what's more important. Because you're juggling more balls than you're used to. This is why I like this one. It's like, okay, the two of us together, or this partnership, or this situation, we can handle this. We can juggle this together. But then this is like, you're gonna have to drop a ball, maybe on purpose. Pick which ones you want to drop or something. Like there's just too much going on. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of work to be done. And it could feel extreme. It could just feel extremely overwhelming and hard to negotiate, as far as like negotiate, like driving, negotiate these turns, or negotiate, it could be hard to negotiate all the work that has to be done or is in your environment. There's a lot of work here. This could also be like, this is about a relationship, but then this Eight of Materials is like, there's work. There's work here, and there's a lot of work. So this could be a relationship that is postponed because of work, or something. There's work in there's a lot of work, Your current situation is justice, or your to-do list is justice. Take the way of integrity. Take the high road, even though you don't want to. You are going to like it in the long run. The sort of unintended consequences will be better if you choose what you know is the right thing to do and not what you feel like doing. But there's fairness. Oh my gosh, I love it coming underneath the Six of Materials. I feel like I get more animated as these go on. I get more invested into the story. It absorbs me more. But the Six of Materials here and the Justice, this is fairness. So you be fair. You keep the ball in the air. Well, you got to drop something, or somebody dropped the ball here. But there's a sense of keeping the ball in the air. And like, just because the other person dropped the ball doesn't mean you drop the ball too, because that's not the point. The point is the volley. The point isn't like, well, if you miss the ball, I'm going to miss the ball too now. It's the volley. And so even though part of you may be like, well, you dropped the ball, didn't you? Now I dropped the ball. That's not going to be satisfying in the long run, because the goal is really the volley. So if someone dropped the ball on purpose or on accident, they're here to bring the ball, to get back into the game, to be in a fair situation. So this is you. You have an opportunity to be fair. You have an opportunity to take a better path. You have an opportunity to make a choice. We don't always get choices, and that's a little bit of what this looks like. Something where you didn't have a choice, perhaps, or you weren't able to there were no negotiations. But there's a fairness here that comes in here. There's a fairness, and it's all sort of connected. And you're really going to have to think about what it is you really want out of this situation. What do you want long term? And all of our actions create unintended karma and unintended consequences, all of them. And that unintended is very important, because you can't see all of the consequences, how things unfold and how things unroll. And so the only thing we can really pay attention to is our intentions, our integrity, our values, and that can take like a lot of time to sort out, and it can change over time too. So fairness, you have an ability to be fair. And when we're talking about this, we're also talking about fairness to yourself. I kind of grew up with this weird idea of fairness as being like, everybody gets what they want and I have to be fair to everybody. And that comes at a great detriment to me, because it was never reciprocated, right? The fairness wasn't reciprocated. People weren't looking out for me. I was supposed to look out for everybody else's interests. So to me, justice really also involves being fair to yourself. There could also be a sense of reaching out for legal help if you need that, tapping into the legal system if you need that. I can see that being something that might be useful right now as part of this card. It's called the Justice card. Tapping into a legal system so that you're treated fairly, like, as well, right? We can't just be focused on like making sure everyone around us is treated fairly. We also get to focus on treating ourselves fairly and making sure we're being treated fairly. So that could be also part of this, but integrity, and I think that's integrity toward yourself as well. And justice to me talks about integrity inside and outside aspects here, right? When we're talking about this unanimity and harmony and this relationship with yourself, we already have this on the table here, this aspect of mastering yourself. That might be part of it, to choose a road of integrity, but also living in harmony with yourself. And justice to me has a lot to do with that harmony of within and without. Am I in harmony with myself? Am I acting in accordance to what my own beliefs are and what I want and value out of life? Am I taking actions that align with that? We've already got this harmony and alignment that align with my own values and who I believe and who I say I am. Whether that be being fair to myself, right? If we're going to be like, if you're a rule follower, you can't just follow rules when it benefits other people. You also get to follow rules when it benefits you, right? So you don't have to, so that can be a part of integrity too, is making sure you're treating yourself fairly and justly. So justice, and it has a huge amount to do, to me, with inner integrity, inner harmony, and having the outside match the inside, having your actions align with who you are and who you say you are. And then we have 10 of Voices, the end of a very difficult situation, a painful situation. It does come to completion and it does come to end. You're being asked to act in integrity, in alignment with your values and with yourself. And there will be an end to this situation. It's 10 of Voices. This is 10 of Swords. It's as painful as the situation can get. It's as difficult. It's a great difficulty. It might have been blow after blow after blow, but here we are at the end of it. There are no more swords. There's no more to endure. There's no more to experience here. The swords are done. What will be left is healing. So you may have, since we're seeing 10 of Voices in the future, there may be some more difficult parts or some additional difficult parts, but there is an end to a very painful situation coming up in which maybe you felt inadequate, or you felt you didn't know. It was a question in your mind whether you were enough or whether you had enough. And the Six of Materials, like this equality that you're in, somehow might even allow you to behave with integrity here. Okay, so 10 of Voices, this is great. Your focus will need to be on allowing the situation to end and not clinging. Like 10 of Swords is usually depicting someone with a bunch of swords in their back, but the dawn is coming. So it's a new day, it's a new dawn. But are we going to proceed with healing, or are we going to, stay there? So I think with 10 of Swords, there's a lot of justification for the pain that someone has experienced. But the choice needs to be healing, and that can be a period of time also we're really focusing on the pain and suffering that we experienced. Usually at the hands of another. It's usually not 10 of Swords or 10 of Voices is usually not self-inflicted pain. It's usually the self-infliction would come if you didn't move on from that, if you refused to allow a new day to come. But it's like one of those where it's not your fault that someone, it can be being stabbed in the back, which would be an activity that only someone who is not you can do, right? So allowing the healing process, which can involve a lot of different aspects. So I just got this Mudra deck. So the hand motion. So this is something that we can do when we're in a meeting, and we're listening to other people talk, and we're sitting there, probably not for driving, or during our meditation was mostly what I was thinking of. What needs to, where we would be doing this. So we have, and I'm learning these too. I've had some passing familiarity with them for decades, but this is like, I want to dive deeper. So we're going to dive deeper together. So we got 31, Inner Truth, Samputa Mudra. It's just basically holding your own hands. And I like this inner truth because we already have the inner life being the lily with the Justice. And this Justice card has like orange lilies all over it. And this lily card here, majesty and virtue, which is exactly what we're talking about, acting in alignment with your own virtues and your own highest ideal for yourself. It's really interesting. Cool. Well, I'm glad we noticed that. So inner truth. So this is assists in integrity. Oh my gosh, that's what we got. The integrity card. Integrity, truth, and communication. Brings balance to the throat and vocal cords, assists immune system, opens clear communication, supports balanced metabolism, Hold left hand cupped facing upward, bringing, can you see that? Bringing the right hand, palm facing down, cup over the hand of the left hand with the fingers resting on the outer edges of the left thumb. Okay. And bring hands to the belly center. And the focus, I speak my truth clearly with integrity and compassion. Beautiful. Okay. And then as usual, I'll post pictures of these at the end. So there we have it. Kind of, in a way, I feel like taking care of that space between your own hands, that space within your own self, creating this space within self and resting it there and holding your own energy in a way. And I feel like these two hands coming together like this is like a private inner self and in harmony with your inner self. Your inner and outer self are in harmony. You are acting in your own highest good by your own virtues. And in a way, I feel like this Empress here too, this light at the center of her, right? She's created a little private shelter for herself. And this is her light at the center. And in a way, I see this as holding your own light inside here. Holding your own light. And allowing it to affect, making sure that your own light and your own values are affecting your actions. I think that's why we have this Justice card here. All right. So, and then one last, the Wild Kuan Yin. What do we have? All right. Yes, yes. This seems in alignment with this 10 of Voices here. The strength of you. Are you doubting your ability to heal or recover? Here we have this, right? It's a very painful process. There is nothing that has fundamentally damaged your spirit, your will, or your heart, no matter how broken those parts of you may feel at times. They've only ever been broken to heal stronger. They have not been broken beyond repair and never will be. So, you aren't broken. But we are looking for a... Oh, it's the moon. Reflection. All right, the strength of you. Okay, well, I hope that that was helpful. Thanks for joining me for another reading, and we'll chat again soon, I'm sure.